It's top right on my Zoom interface. I don't know where it would be on yours. Usually I can see it better without the screen share thing done, but oh no, it's at the bottom next to share screen. Participants chat, share screen, record.
Does it look like it's working? I think it is. All right, good. We're recording.
All right.
Welcome to Gaming Krownlandia session. Yay! Welcome, everyone. We are going to go through today a few exciting things. First of all, what is Krownlandia? Many of you have heard about it in the Krown group or in the community cluster of the Uplift World and various places. And we are going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to share some of our resources where we can learn more about it later. And then we're going to get a chance to go visit Krownlandia in the Uplift World. Greg is going to give us a tour. He is our chief builder and developer.
You'll be thinking now about what you're grateful for, because I'm going to be asking those of you who are on the call here, and so we can memorialize it in Krownlandia in the Uplift World.
That's a great idea, Greg. We were just before we started recording talking about what we were grateful for and how we've gotten in this habit now at the beginning of every meeting. So that'll be great. I'm so glad you said that. So I have on the screen first, I want to show you KROWN.club, because the KROWN DAC and token is really what has inspired all of the Krownlandia community, and my place in Krownlandia called Lisa's Coffee Shop, which is a virtual coffee shop, and essentially the idea of an ideal town. It emerged out of this, and so I just wanted to highlight that KROWN.club has a lot of information about the KROWN DAC and token, which I believe was the first EOSIO chain DAC after EOSIO, if I'm not mistaken. So I came into the mix just, you know, not long after it started, but once they got set up and everything. My brother Max and Dwayne were the primary creators of that DAC and token, and so I actually got invited not too long before DACathon last year and got really involved in the community. Maybe it was about a year before, but really involved in the community in Telegram, which was a whole new world to me and amazing. We're connecting with people all around the world, day and night, all the time. And the big thing about the KROWN token Telegram group is that you can tip each other. There's a tip bot where you just slash reply and how much KROWN, and you're essentially acknowledging someone. So sort of like maybe a like in Facebook, but with some real value associated to it. And that has just turned into talk about expressions of gratitude and rewards. So people have been thanking each other throughout the day in that method, and also creating games on top of it. There's several groups. Jackson McFluffy has one, AJ Lee has one. There's all sorts of things going on that have emerged through that community of friends. And I think quite a few people are on the call or will be listening from the KROWN community later. So shout out to you, yay. And one day in the Krownlandia community, in the KROWN community, I'm going to share a different screen now, so bear with me for just a moment while I make sure. Okay, I think it's going with me. Does that look like a document?
It does.
Okay,
official list of Krownlandia places.
That is it. So once upon a time in the KROWN DAC and token group, we asked the question, which was if you were going to put something in an ideal town, what would it be? And people started responding to this question, which I was quite surprised because it was really quite out of the blue and just a moment of thought. But people started responding with answers, starting with this one here, which was the Library of Alexandria, but it was called the Big Library at first. And I added the coffee shop, of course, immediately. But people started adding all sorts of different types of shops, places to gather, magic school, just all sorts of things. And then sometimes there would be conversation about it, and people would say what it was going to include. So, you know, the supermercado, basically there was a limit on the cost, and that, you know, how even back then, look how long ago, and that was January of last year, membership card holds subscription, right? So the police station was especially interesting. Make sure everyone has enough to eat, has a house, and is happy. That's their primary function as police in Krownlandia. And then people, and to plant trees. You know, that this may sound familiar to some of the people on the group, but anyway, various things have emerged in this very flat and 2D manner, and yet very vivid in the imaginations of people. So as people would add their place just by adding it to the Krownlandia Telegram group and then having it added here, people would get a Krown reward tip for adding the place. And there was a hope that maybe someday that we would get to build out some of these places and be able to earn other tips as well. So we know that our community really values the tips, and many people use them for, you know, regular living expenses, also for emergencies. We've had several community members who have been able to really help out their, you know, physical in-person communities during times of need by tips. And so we think that there is a lot of opportunity to reward each other and thank each other for creating experiences in the Uplift world, and who knows, in whatever way else in the future. But that, you know, honoring each other and thanking each other is really a significant piece that we'd like to extend and carry forward. So, for example, in Lisa's coffee shop, when you come in, you can order coffee through stickers or by posting a message, but instead of paying for your coffee, you can get Krown rewards for your time, for stopping by, thanking you. And of course, if you engage in discussion, chances are other people are going to tip you as well, and you're going to get more, which is a little bit easier in a virtual world possibly than in a physical world. But, you know, then again, why not? You know, when you think about how it all works, maybe that actually could be possible in the future world. So there's a sneak peek of some of what we might see later. I won't ruin the surprise so much, but Greg added a place that actually had pictures with it.
I'm going to take them to the actual place so if I can screen share. So
yeah, we one more minute before we do that.
Take your time.
I just want to say a couple of, so we won't spend too much time on this, but I'm sure we'll address this later as well. Each person in Krownlandia gets a home as well. So it doesn't make any sense to set up shop if there's no place to live. And in an ideal town, having a place to live seems like a fundamental. And once upon a time, I think we all thought that was certainly where I live in California. But these days, that is not true. I would say probably those numbers are nearing as many people who actually do have a home. So this is not such an unrealistic aspiration for us to ensure, because, you know, that would be a good thing to do. So everyone gets to pick what kind of house they want in Krownlandia. And people have also added just a few other things here to take note. Nature and town elements. Someone here on the call added a revitalized living water, which is vortexing and flowing throughout the town. And not too coincidentally, or uncoincidentally, I suppose, is also the water company in the new Krownlandia in the Uplift world. And I'm especially interested to see how the magic gardens play out as well. We have some community events such as Architects Day, because January 22nd, 2020 is when Krownlandia was first conceived of. And then in May, as part of Krown's first birthday and anniversary, we did have a town opening with trumpets. And that was our last DACathon. And we'll keep some of that here. And each person as added in the order added as a townsperson is listed. However, there are many, many more now. I think we're nearing 200 in the Krownlandia group and more than that in Lisa's coffee shop. So we are now building a place for the townspeople to visit. And I will just switch back here so you can see the Krownlandia website. Can you see it?
Yes.
Great. The pictures are just loading in, but I'll show you some of the imaginary vision, and then we'll get to see actually what is happening. But
let me tell you, I'm going to warn everybody that the in-game shots are not nearly as impressive as these
beg to differ. I will say, though, these images are clip art. And what Greg is going to show you is real, even though it's virtual. So the current theme is Welcome to Krownlandia. There is a place here for you. And I think that will work for quite some time. But we are encouraging people who want a place to let us know in the Krownlandia Telegram group so we can add it to the list. And then we will be contacting you to identify what you want to build in the Uplift, and Greg will be helping us do that. So you'll see on there, future place managers. This is your chance to let us know what you want, and it may take a little while, but we're going to look forward to working with you to build out your vision, and that will mean you don't have to go into Minecraft if you don't want to, and your place can be manifested, and then we will work together to create some reward mechanisms for that, which we can talk a bit about later. But with that, Greg, I will turn it over to you. I believe you can share, but let me know if you have any challenges with that.
Let's see what we got. You are still sharing, so I don't think I can until you let go of the screen share. There we go. So hi, everybody. My name is Greg Smithwick. If you are whitelisted on the Uplift server, you will see me as Uplift Greg. And I actually was the person that turned the key to turn the server on well before the idea of an Uplift World existed. Corey and I had been looking for ways to reach voters. And we had the idea of starting a Minecraft world where we could interview people in the game. That was our only starting idea. And I guess the third or fourth person we added to our world, Bob Benson, who is every morning, if you've ever come to a gratitude service in the cathedral here in the Uplift World, which we stream to YouTube, which if you can't join us in game is probably how you would have seen it, or on Facebook, Bob put a sign on the beach that said, I'm grateful for this place. And that started, Corey and I have been believers in gratitude practice for a long time. And it was sort of an interesting thing that somebody we haven't talked to about that brought gratitude into this world and smacked us literally in the face with it on a sign. And Corey was like, well, that's it. Now we have to build a big gratitude monument. And we did. And then we built a cathedral over that. And we began to attract people to what we were doing, because we believe that by practicing gratitude as a daily practice, identifying what you're grateful for, you find other things to be grateful for, and you remind other people of things that they're grateful for, because some of that gratitude practice is me calling Corey up and saying, hey man, I'm really grateful that you gave me an hour of your time today, or calling Lisa Chandler and telling her I'm grateful for your vision on this because it's pretty spectacular. Like reminding people that you're grateful for them. And that allows them to see a way to find gratitude for you or for other things. Maybe they don't reciprocate, and that's fine. Well, everyone's responsible for their own finding of gratitude, and we find ourselves less miserable, less depressed, less angry when we're grateful, and that's our experience. And I was listening with interest to the earlier conversation about information that may be a decade old and spurious, but people still believe it. We can show you in your own life that if you practice gratitude every day, your perception of things will change in a positive way. And we then find that what gets tied to gratitude, one of the benefits that gets tied to gratitude is generosity. We find people that are grateful are much more ready to give into the world to make, to help other people find gratitude. And that's a thing that's important to us. Okay, so that's my spiel about how we got here. About 6 months ago, M Blue found Corey. I don't remember how they connected, but he began. He's been doing the Uplift Art thing, which generates an enormous amount of goodwill in the world in the form of charitable contributions that are now building schools in Haiti and actually benefiting artists in a great and profound way. And Corey and he developed a relationship separate from me. But now I'm finding out that was one of the smartest things that ever happened was those two minds working together on how to make this Minecraft server, which didn't start out to be the Uplift World, into a vehicle to bring NFT NFT culture and NFT benefit into the real world to benefit real people that need the help. So I'm super excited about that. And because of all that, Lisa Chandler found this, and that's how this has all kind of come together. So when Lisa first laid out for me what you just saw, the document showing what people wanted to be in Krownlandia and a flat map image of the shape of Krownlandia, I immediately saw that what we could do is we could manifest those things. I heard somebody else yesterday in one of the DACathon presentations struggling with and bringing it into the real world, and they had to use air quotes because this really isn't the real world, but it's a 3D rendering of a real world. And that, like, I chuckled because I often struggle with that. I see what we're doing as bringing Krownlandia into the real world, but instead it's just giving it dimensionality. I am really old, ancient by some standards, and I remember when you used to play Dungeons and Dragons, the dungeon master sat behind like a screen of charts, and he told you a story, and your job was to interact with that story using your player stats, which were handwritten in pencil on a sheet, and make decisions. And then he would tell you, well, I'm sorry, you gently brushed the orc's neck instead of killing him, and then so you had to do it all in your mind and on paper. And for me, the process now of manifesting Krownlandia into a three-dimensional world is like the difference between playing D&D like that and the first time I played a game online that animated all those things for you. I could see what the orcs looked like. I could see what the iron door that the orc was behind looked like. And for me, this process of making Krownlandia real in the Uplift world, it feels like I'm going to be able to give lift to the beauty and the expression that all these people have poured out onto paper. And that's immediately what attracted me to the idea of doing this. So I want to thank Lisa for trusting me to make that happen. And now I'm scared, right? Because there's so much and it's so big, and everything is happening around it. And I don't want to say I have imposter syndrome, because I know what I'm doing in a Minecraft world and how to do things in a Minecraft world. But the responsibility of taking the idea of a guy named Nicholas who wants to build a health center in Krownlandia. He sent me some pictures of actual health centers in his country and what he kind of wants his to look like. And now I'm gonna, what if I disappoint Nicholas? And now there's 200 people that are potentially gonna have a place in Krownlandia. It's gonna be a much bigger town than I thought. I don't know how we're gonna build 3 golf courses, let alone 4 sports stadiums. There's a lot here, and so I just wanted to start by saying that I took on a project that I thought was pretty cool. Now I'm finding out it's pretty huge, and I don't understand all of the philosophy and underlayment of Krownlandia yet. And the reason there isn't much built in the physical world yet is because we've had some real technical challenges that have kind of delayed what we're able to do. So before I go into the game, I'm going to show you guys on the 2D map what's happening with the Uplift world as far as it concerns Krownlandia. Initially, when you look at the big picture, we chose this land west of Chicken Con, the big map, because it had a huge bay full of coral reef, and that was something that we decided we wanted to have. Lisa had seen the coral reef in other places on the map, so I went looking for a spot that had some mountains and some beautiful farmland, and had like a mix of environments, and it was going to be right on this east-west rail line. Well, the changes in server architecture have made that geography irrelevant now, and having to contend with how we're going to now fit in what we already talked about into what's going to happen next is a little tricky. So this map was designed to all be one big continuous map experience, but we're going to have to break it up into chunks to make it manageable for server load. So the community cluster, this huge area of developments, you can see how many people are playing down in there and building down in there right now. And the cathedral and what we're calling Center City is going to have to be its own community. Over here is the region called Chicken Ka, and I'm only talking about Chicken Ka for a minute because what's happened is we had to decide to move the first square that we built things on for Krownlandia into this little spot on the map adjacent to Chicken Ka because only 5K by 5K can fit on a single server for now. We know that because of the density of players. We want to make sure everybody has a good player experience. In order to make sure that we don't overload servers, we've had to kind of compact some things. So we're moving this single square plus the two others. So this vertical square, and this vertical square will be Krownlandia on the new map architecture. And you'll access it by going from a central teleport or spawn hub to the Chicken Ka Transportation Center and riding a railroad west into Krownlandia proper. And my intent is to put a big giant welcome sign, welcome to Krownlandia, with cool images and words on it. So that's the plan for now. Krownlandia will live here. But so this one is only separate because we haven't gotten to the point where we can re-regionize it and move it just yet. But what I'm going to do is take you in game now. You can see my little icon. That's me in the game. This 2D map, by the way, will be available outside of Minecraft. It's on the web. It lives on the internet. There's a link to it. So anybody at any time, day or night, can pop into this map and they can zoom in and they can see what people are doing in different parts of the world. So people that don't have access to Facebook, as long as they have an internet connection, they'll be able to look and see their spot in Krownlandia. They won't be able to see it named, but they can actually get a 3D view of it. And I'll show you what I mean by that in another couple of minutes. But for now, let's go ahead and I'll jump us into the world on the screen share. And as promised, I hope you were all thinking about this while I was busy dazzling you with my intro. But what I'd like to know from you now is what you're grateful for, because we've built the first gratitude monument here in the Krownlandia world, and it has a clear pane, so we can still see the moon going down, and we can see the sun rising through it. So let's start. Lisa, what are you grateful for today?
Townspeople of Krownlandia.
That's how we do it. That it's as simple as that. And what will happen now, and you'll see where this monument is in a minute in relation to the rest of Krownlandia. But Lisa's grateful for the townspeople of Krownlandia. Dwayne, what are you grateful for today?
Grateful for Lisa Chandler.
Right?
I'm grateful for Dwayne too.
Okay, Pardox, if you're still with us and you'd like to state something you're grateful for, we'll put it up on the wall here. How about Lucas? Lucas, do you have anything you'd like to express gratitude for?
I'm grateful for the Sundays.
That's a good one. I go back over the gratitude monuments in the old cathedral now and find myself being grateful that my mom doesn't have COVID, right? It's almost like mile markers of an amazing period of time in our lives. And I'm getting choked up. But the gratitudes are real, and it's nice to go back and look at them and remember some of the simple things we're all grateful for. My favorite of all time is somebody put on the cathedral wall, I'm grateful for Chinese mustard. I don't know why, but it's okay. How about Jason McKee? Is there something you'd like to express gratitude for? Is there, and I think that's everybody that's on the call. Is that correct?
You have some in the chat.
We have some in the chat. Okay, let's see.
I got something.
Yes.
I'm grateful for the DAC movement.
Oh, I messed that up. All right, that's a good one. All right, so you can see this kind of stands alone in this flat open place. Greg, what are you doing? This is just a flat land with nothing on it. That is east towards the sunrise. That is west towards the sunset. But I'm going to lift up here by magic and show you that what you're actually standing on is an enormous island floating in the sky that looks east and west, and underneath it is some beautiful water. What we're going to build on top of this, Lisa, should I tell them? What do you think, Lisa?
Yeah. Tell
All
him,
right.
tell him.
You can see I've begun
Ideas.
to put a little nature area over here. But what's going to happen is we're going to make an enormous compass rose, which is the logo that appears in the Krownlandia graphics that Lisa has put together. And that compass rose will be flat on the ground, and it will actually be the center focus of an enormous park. This is all going to be a nature park with walking trails and flowers and trees and animals, and some sort of interesting convoluted way to get down from it. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm thinking, I'm thinking giant waterfall that you'll just basically climb into the waterfall and it will transport you down to the surface by the bay. In fact, a little known secret, if you're not a Minecrafter, if you fall off something huge and you land in ankle deep water, you're safe. So I'm just going to jump off right now and watch what happens. Let's see. Oh, I didn't get myself out of creative mode here. You'll basically fall safely and land on the ground. And now we're under it. And I kind of, in my own mind mythology, the Sky Island appeared out of deep space, and it's still molten hot underneath. Is kind of the idea of those glowing orbs under it. But there you go. That's the Sky Island. That'll be the park and sort of the entry point for Krownlandia. Down below it is this enormous bay. The bright colors that you see out in the bay are coral reefs. And this is one of the most extensive coral reefs that we found in the map yet. And it all happens to be encompassed in the bay. So when we have to move, we're actually going to move this entire chunk of Krownlandia, and with it will go all of these coral reefs. So they'll be explorable and swimmable. They have dolphins, they have tropical fish, and all sorts of other amazing things. There are sea turtles. So a really amazing marine environment. And over here on this little beach, what I decided was I like the idea of a city skyline like Rio de Janeiro that has a massive natural mountains near it. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the tropical and you get the mountainous regions right here close together. I built a Krownlandia development office. This is, please ignore the pig. I don't know what he wants. I paid him last week. I don't know why he's still hanging around. But basically, this is just an office to help you plan your presence in Krownlandia. This is what the interiors of buildings look like. This is really fairly small. But welcome to the Krownlandia development office. Population me. The reason I did that is sort of it kind of puts a stake in the ground that says this is where we're going to start. I made a walking path that goes up now to the welcome and membership center for Krownlandia, and this is Lisa's office, membership center, welcome, and inside we have conference tables and pretty green carpet and some great glowing lights. There's even some art on the walls and a viewing area where you can look out over some of the area that's going to become the first town in Krownlandia. What I don't know is what the name of the town is going to be. The land is called Krownlandia, so I guess you need to gamify, at least, some way to name what the town is going to be called. But what you can see when I pop up vertically again here is I made a walking path because I felt like first it's going to be a town, a village, then it's going to be a town, and then it's going to be a city as it grows and we build bigger and more complex things into it. So essentially a central street that'll have a couple of parks on it. People will be able to build their houses, their dream shop, their whatever it is they want built into the world. We'll be able to accommodate them by building them in here. Please ignore the hot lava pits. We know they're hazardous, but we have to do something about them. I built the fence around both of them and the fence burned down. So we'll have to fix that before it's safe for folks to walk around there. But already you can see I started aquascaping and putting some plants, some sugarcane and kelp and other plants around the little ponds we found. And the city will sort of extend this way and until we run out to the edge of the Krownlandia land, which now won't happen because it'll be along with those other two chunks, a massive area for development. So that's what we have in mind. As you can see that launch point, the giant Sky Island across the bay over there. That will also be getting moved. I built that. It wasn't in the world. And sort of the magic of having the tools of Minecraft is we can make things, we can conjure things into the world that didn't exist there before, and we can reshape and redesign. So this is all that's been built, and I want to make sure that I'm clear. The reason that's happened is I got extremely busy because I started giving tours and explaining how this is all working to a lot of people. And we're gonna start dialing in. Also, I have to help run this. I'm the mayor of Chicken Ka, so I have to help run this other region of the world. But we're gonna build a pretty extraordinary experience in a Minecraft world, and I love the idea that people will be able to, if they can't visit it in the Minecraft world, they'll be able to see film clips and screen captures and see their names on things in the world. And that we intend to make it so they can have clickable links inside their build. So if you want more information about health challenges that are faced by people in the part of the world where the owner of that build lives, we can put links out to information like that. We are actually building a replica of the Haitian roots schools that Uplift Art is building, and we're gonna put clickable links in there so people can donate to that charity directly, and they can help those kids in a direct way from within a Minecraft world. And that's what I want for Krownlandia. I want y'all to be able to create experiences and information channels that don't exist elsewhere, or on 2D paper and a pencil, and no dungeon master required. We're going to be able to conjure in whatever you guys want to make a viable place out of Krownlandia. And how it's run and what happens to the animals, that's all on Lisa. Good luck. Are there going to be farms? How are people going to eat? Yeah, those are all things that when you run a place in the world, you have to think about. And I'm really excited to see all the different models for that come out in the Uplift world. I think there's a couple of comment questions. Let's see.
If you want to add the gratitudes that were sent over in the chat.
Oh, sure.
I'll
Did I miss a
respond
couple?
to it. You alluded to, especially about the food. I know this is a hot topic. There are
there's
few
one for
things
Max.
in
Yeah.
There are a few things in Minecraft that are what I would consider less than ideal. Primarily the concept of enslaving villagers. To me, that is the no-go of the Minecraft world. As we're looking at an ideal world, I can't help but think, why would we bring that forward? So, however, Greg has told me and educated me more and more about Minecraft as time has gone on, and explained how great it is when you discover a village of villagers on your land, and how they may be able to be good citizens in your town as well. So we're still learning about that. You know, I have to learn how to apply the Minecraft player mentality to ideals, and so we're learning together. But we'll have those discussions in the Krownlandia Telegram group for sure. The more we discover.
Yeah,
And
we make a joke about what happened with the villagers. The first village that existed in the world was next to where we started building things. And what we didn't know, because none of us had ever dealt with villagers as a mechanism in the game before, is they are kind of dumb. They will wander into hot lava. They will wander into caves and get eaten by zombies. They will drown. So you kind of have to secure them. And we didn't do that when we first started. And all of the villagers died. And we had no way to repopulate them except to travel by boat across the water to a foreign land and steal villagers to bring them to repopulate our village. Then we had to build a fence around it to make sure that those villagers stayed safe. And we sort of accidentally invented Minecraft slavery, because there's no other way to repopulate a village. So we joke about it, and we know it's a serious topic, but I need you to think of it this way. If you find a village somewhere on your plot of land when you're in the Uplift world, it's right away. Make sure those villagers are safe. Build a fence around them so they can't wander into trouble, and they will be part of a trade economy that develops over time. That's really amazing and valuable, and they're fun. They wander around. We're going to have villagers in Chicken Kai in the city that are just wandering around, and you can click on them and you can trade a coal for emeralds, or clay for emeralds, or emeralds for pie. There's all sorts of trade exchanges that happen. So it's a vibrant part of the game economy. So when we joked about how we got villagers, I understand how it landed, but we had to do what we had to do to make sure that they were safe. So there you go.
Well, I think the one documentary series I'd like to see, the continuing weekly series by Lisa, or, obviously, Lisa, you do a lot, so hopefully other people pick up the torch and help you out and replace yourself. But Greg, listening to the talk yesterday of people that have not been in gameplay before at all, in any gameplay, and seeing the philosophical or even fears of like,
Yes.
I just didn't want to play this game because I could die, and it was just really so innocent, but also bringing that real world trauma, that real world experience is invaluable. Because if this was just all seasoned game players, we wouldn't have that dialogue of questioning the morality of Dwayne seeing that pig and instantly going, let's put a skewer over that lava and have some bacon,
right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Lisa's always pushing an envelope of saying this could last. Lisa wants to make sure that she's at least bringing up those conversations, and it's incredible, because that wouldn't happen if it was just seasoned players and we were just gaming the game and getting diamonds from the villagers and understanding the matrix of the game itself. So I won't, Lisa, I don't want you to lose those ethical concerns in Krownlandia, because that's a whole another narrative of conversation that's really important. And that was the essence of how Krownlandia was born, is how do you want to see your future world? So now you're in a world that has its own dynamics, but having that conversation and keeping it going is, I think, super important, especially for the new people, like hearing the, oh my God, I was scared of lava. Like, I don't want to burn up, it's just really, it was really important. And it adds such a real element to, this virtual world.
Yeah, we don't get to negate other people's trauma experiences, right? And we need to remember that their experiences are carried with them wherever they go, whether that's in a game world or in the real world. And that the reason I told the story about Donna was that she did have that hard adjustment. She had never played games before. And as I said, you play Super Mario World, you die 100 times a day trying to get through the stupid turtle thing with the fences and the lava, right? And so for those of us that have gamed for a long time, dying in a game is just dying in a game, and you restart. But for some people that don't have that experience, it feels very different to have their existence threatened in a game. They have a real sense of loss. So I'm adapting to that way of looking at things, and I see Lisa working to understand that the game mechanics are the game mechanics, and they make it very compelling for long time play. And that's what we want. We want folks that have never played Minecraft or any other game to come in, get comfortable enough that then they begin to say, well, what's that interesting thing you're holding? How did you get that sword that's glowing? Well, you need books to make enchantments to make the sword better. How do you get books? You get leather, and you get, where do you get the leather from? Bad news. Leather only comes from animals in the game. So if you want an enchanted sword that glows, you're going to have to deal with your own conscience on whether you want it badly enough to not ask where the cows came from, or translate that into how you think about the real world. I love that sweet leather belt. Do I love it enough to consider where it came from and disregard that? So
let's talk about the animals for a minute, because I know that is a interesting topic. And when I first heard about Minecraft, I thought, well, look, we're an ideal town. We don't want to be going around killing animals if we don't need to. I mean, at all, let alone if we don't need to, right? But at the same time, on Earth, a lot of people kill animals to eat them and have their sustenance and are very healthy in that way. People we know right here in the group. And like I said to Sue yesterday, I accept your values. I'm not out to try to change your values. I'm here just to bring up the conversation and let us think about it. So, the more I've seen in the game, the more I've had a chance to learn and think about this. When I see Anders, who's any observation, who's really into survival mode, in other words, doing everything at the highest ideal in terms of gameplay, but then I see he has so many cows in his pen that he's going to slaughter that the game is freezing because it's so densely populated with them. I think, okay, maybe that's worth thinking about too, is that there is some extreme that is harmful to the environment, literally. But I'll have to say, if people want to live and thrive in Krownlandia, and it is their value system to be sustaining themselves on animals, I'm not going to, disagree or argue with that. I did the only place, honestly, that ever really concerned me that was submitted for Krownlandia was when someone who shall remain nameless for the moment put magical gardens in and said something about like growing zebras for food. And I used to collect zebras, and that was a bit traumatic for me,
You
because I
can't
thought,
fit a lot of those in your house.
yeah, I had decorations, not live zebras,
okay.
of course, but I know they. I would have probably if I could have, but it touched like this is a friend. The zebras are my friend, and I thought that. But who is to know really how life works at all, and what and how we're here, and what happens to? I mean, we don't know. So, like Dwayne said, I think this is a great opportunity for us to discuss and think about these things and educate each other and learn how to live together. It's perfect for the DAC communities. Decentralized autonomous communities are meant to be different opinions and diversity of thought, like David and I were chatting about earlier, and having these come together and learn how to coexist and learn how to live together and learn how to make better worlds. Because if we end up disagreeing and fighting and torturing each other, then are we doing any better than we've done on Earth? And, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great things about living on Earth, and I'm very happy that I do. But at the same time, if we're creating these places for people to be and to experience, then I think it's worth thinking about how we want to be there and why. And even since I have, if you attend the KROWN community call, you may have heard a few weeks ago some people talking about buying some actual land. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the future we're able to take our experiments and lessons to our own homes and our own communities in Earth, and probably make it even more seamless. This, what, like Greg, I'm right there with you with the in the real world thing. This week, or I'd say the past maybe month, when I've said in the real world, I actually mean an uplift.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah.
I know it's weird, but it's happening. I have a good friend here in the Tampa Bay area in Florida that teaches at USF. He's a professor, and one of the things he teaches is called the theology of culture. And it's really interesting to me because, and I'm not a religious person, but the recently appointed Pope Francis, his first encyclical, his message to the Catholics of the world, was about stewardship of land. It was about taking care of the earth, and that's just something that never had happened before. And my lapsed recovering Catholic argument is, well, this is what happens when you pick a Jesuit. They think about things maybe differently than we've ever thought about them. And what my friend that's the professor in Tampa talks about in theology of culture is you can't do everything yourself. It's okay for you to think about ways to reduce your footprint, reduce your harm going out into the world. You can't fix it completely. You just can't. You can't have zero impact on the physical world around you, but you can do something. And if we can't make big companies stop industrial polluting, we can argue, oh, it doesn't really help for me not to use plastic straws anymore. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, in a tiny way, but it helps. And so anything you can do to the process of reducing that footprint is a positive impact on the world. And if we all make a tiny little positive impact, what we're actually making is a bigger impact than we think we are. And that's his whole argument in this theology of culture question, is let's make our culture one that says we know we can't stop all use today of gasoline, of fossil fuels. We can't stop all invasive mining for lithium, for batteries, for electric cars today, but we can begin to address the questions of whether that's having, what's the effect, how can we move away from that damage and reduce that damage over time. And I'm kind of new to the cryptocurrency world, but I'm watching reporters and journalists now talking about the immense environmental damage of Bitcoin mining and all the, well, that's, what we're doing now is less invasive than what was happening 5 years ago. So we're already seeing this community begin to move towards better solutions. And I actually think that that's how we as a culture, as a species, change things. That we decide on something and we just find a better way. We didn't fix the fluorocarbons problem, chopping holes in the ozone, until it was causing cancer, and we oh, now it's a problem, let's change it. And I know we're slow on global climate change. I understand why, because frankly we haven't had enough pain from it yet. And the minute the pain threshold is reached, that it tumbles over into fast action, we'll get there, and we'll get there really quickly, because that's how we've done things as a species forever. So I just wandered way off the Krownlandia thing and into world energy and food policy, but
I'm good at transitioning here. The bottom line, though, is if, you know, Lisa talks about paths. So if we could, through blockchain, through games, through Uplift, if you can show that small, let's start with gratitude. Like you said, gratitude causes, you know, amazing effect. You know, we can start recording these little other actions, right?
Yes.
You know, it might not make sense that, no, my little contribution compared to Exxon or something not stopping pollution doesn't matter. We have to show that all those little actions in a visual, in something we can understand, does create massive change.
right.
Because it's very easy to get depressed and not happy. So once again, need happiness first, but we can show how every action you do is immense, and without your action, you know, where are we, right? So especially with, you know, just in that climate change, you know, think of the game that we could show that, you know, and reward people, and then bring those actions into the real world. So I think this is the path to show that these actions create huge significance.
Yeah, I like
want to
that.
jump in for a bit
Please, David. Yes.
and add to that, that oftentimes we don't think our actions have significance because we cannot see into the future and we don't have full recollection of the past. But I just want to, I want to invite all of you to remember the key persons and the key moments that have inspired you into your life to be a better version, and how these experiences have played out. And now imagine for that other person, it was probably just something completely normal that they did, because they were at that level, they were just being themselves, right? And you met this person, and for you, it was something that really changed something in you. And so that's how it works, right? We just be our best selves. And just by doing that, we have huge repercussions in the world that we never realize. And we probably no one will ever tell us about, but those are very important, and they have a huge effect on everyone that we meet.
Beautiful. I think that's how we
That is
end.
so, I find that true all the time, and people tell me those stories all the time, and that's, I think, a big reason why I prefer the DAC communities to any other, you know, structures, the corporations, the organizations. Although they have great value in their own way, the DAC communities allow people to be how they are, to be friendly with each other, to share stories with each other, to inspire and help each other. And believe it or not, these basic organizing tools and technologies and processes that allow us to have, you know, a stake and allow us to vote and allow us to earn rewards and essentially do what we want to do, right? Like, I'm quite sure if I was in a company, I would not have been said, yeah, go build Krownlandia. I'm just guessing. I mean, maybe now that games are so popular, but it, you know, like the thought of we're not going to keep the money, we're going to give it to the people if we get any. Not sure that would have emerged in
Well,
in a way. And by the way,
and we're changing culture, right? We're changing the culture of the world in play. Ta-da!
so cute.
Yeah, that's. I'm
I did
feeding him. He'll grow up eventually. And did you make more chickens? Which is animal husbandry in Minecraft is interesting.
Okay, I'm still learning. We do, because we have so much coral reef. We do have one of the new places, place managers is going to take on conservation of the coral reef and add conservation events and topics. And there will be a resort around there so that people can come visit. And several people actually are adding activities. Someone's adding an aquarium. So there will be a lot of fun things to do in that region to really like this has become something that Krownlandia townspeople really want to focus on, which is this
Wonderful
conservation reef region especially. So I'm very excited about that. And also we mentioned rewards, and I don't want to forget that
Right.
to address that. We'll talk about governance next week too, but I just want to acknowledge that you know, in the line of Crown and rewards, we want the people who are in Krownlandia to be earning rewards. And when I say in, let's define what that means. There's some different, you know, categories, let's say. So a place manager is someone that imagines a place in Krownlandia, and that place manager, will consider that in, is meant to earn rewards for creating that concept and for developing that concept. And that person will have the opportunity to create interaction that has rewards for people who are visiting the place as well. So that would be a place visitor, right? Now, granted, this all started in our imagination, and now we're putting it into a Minecraft world as well. So along those lines, we're thinking of something like a membership, which says you're a townsperson, perhaps it's with an NFT. Actually, we've had NFTs designed for quite some time, but haven't launched them yet.
Nice.
So coming, but that having that NFT actually functions as a communications mechanism as much as anything else, and allows us to send other communications and rewards and so forth through NFTs to you, and potentially even resources by having them backed. Although
Right.
there may be other ways that we can do that. And through the addition of scripts, we can automate certain things. So hopefully in the future, as people, as the Uplift World opens up to other people and has built out all of their game mechanics, there will be rewards based on people visiting Krownlandia. And then those rewards will be shared among the place managers of Krownlandia. And Greg is also thinking of some other clever ways to reward people, because as we've mentioned a few times during DACathon, not everyone has the ability to get onto a computer or mobile or through internet. And the Crown community is very diverse all over the world, very, very much all over the world, like from all corners of the world. And so it wouldn't be fair to just say that people who have good computers or Minecraft licenses and really good internet, you know, are the only ones who would be able to build in. And so that's part of the beauty of Greg's generosity in helping us, is that even if we don't have that access, and honestly, I don't have good enough internet and computer to build in Minecraft at this point.
We're gonna help Lisa first.
I know. So it's like, don't judge those who can't build, because I'm right up there at the list. But that way that we can still have a place. And so he's looking as players, as Minecraft players actually come in and interact in the community, that perhaps what they mine, the rewards that come from that could be shared with the townspeople of Krownlandia as well as the place managers. So you can see there's like different categories that will allow us to give rewards to people. I know I probably shouldn't ever say this in public, but I have a personal goal of ensuring that a place manager earns $100 a day by managing their place in Krownlandia. I have no idea what that means, what that looks like, or how many years it would take. I think Corey told me it was 100,000 years.
You said
So,
1,000,
you know,
1,000 years, yeah.
I'm trying to whittle that down. We're able to get rewards of up to about $2 through various Crown activities and tipping in Lisa's coffee shop and different things like that. So I think there's hope that we can figure it out, but of course inflation may require us to want more than that. But you know, it's up to each person what they do with their tokens and how they want to use them, of course, as they earn them, whatever kinds of tokens they are. But I just want to at least have a model and a prototype to inspire other people. Like David said, we don't know what's going to strike someone or inspire them. And if someone can build a world 1,000,000 times bigger that does the same thing, I'm all for it. You go on and do that, and we'll help you however we can, because the more we can experiment and learn and share that vision and inspire others to do that, the better off we're all going to be. And so I'll look forward to your comments here and later about what you think we could be doing and what rewards make sense, and we'll continue to work on that.
Well, let me close with just a bit of an economics idea. The reward system that's built into the Uplift world is that players earn a little bit of wax for traveling across anywhere in the world, for moving about in the world. There'll be a limit, because we don't want people making, I don't know, a constant loop roller coaster that earns them 5,000 wax a day. You know, we want to be careful about overdrawing there. But if you're a player walking across the world, you're going to make a little tiny bit of wax. The person that owns the land, if there is someone that owns the land that you're walking across, it's also going to earn a little bit of a reward. So if I'm someone who wants Krownlandia to prosper in the Uplift world, what I'm thinking about right now is, what am I going to build in Krownlandia that's going to draw people to it and keep them there? What, you know, make them want to be there more often than they want to be somewhere else, because that demand for people to come see things, take a snapshot of it, post it in a Telegram group. You guys, when you get in the world, you got to go see that. Right? You know, that's part of the economic model that's built right into the game, and Krownlandia gets to decide what happens to that revenue that they make from people walking across, experiencing, riding the rail, doing the things in the Krownlandia section. And we know for sure that other areas that are being developed, chicken ka, we're making a whole realm of experiences that are going to want people to come and spend a lot of time walking around in our city. And I mean, we're making a lost treasures of the Maya discovery game, where we're going to hide great works of Mayan art that were lost to history. And the idea is we get to tell a story about why colonization mattered to the Maya and other Mesoamerican people, and the enormous value in working to preserve the works of art that still exist. And we're going to get people going absolutely crazy to hunt for these 5 lost Mayan treasures somewhere in our city, and the first person to collect all 5 will get a reward, right? A special NFT that's going to have some value and some beef to it. So that's what, if I were making a suggestion to the people who are going to watch this later, who are part of the whole Krownlandia project and idea, what are you going to bring into this world that's going to bring benefit to the rest of the people of Krownlandia? And if that's not a huge real world economics question, I don't know what is. And it's why I think that this is the right platform for doing what y'all are doing. So, boom.
Great. And I want to add
rumor has it there's going to be a 10 to 20 to 50 times multiplier of Crown, within Krownlandia. But I'm
wow.
I would urge the Crown custodians to look at the latest proposals in KROWN DAC, and I kind of think that's actually a reward for all of the Uplift as well. So so there's some exciting things, and gamification and incentivizing people is one of our passions. So I'm not a builder, but I don't tune in all the time to all the Telegram channels, but I love giving to people that are passionate and create communities. So
right,
create something, and you'll see the current rewards double, triple, 10 times, 50 times, right, to create a good experience.
Right on. Give away more. Generosity is good business. People, the more we give, the more people want to come and help us facilitate more giving. So let's build a big giant giving machine and use the t-shirt cannon to shoot food to people. Let's do that. All right.
Now, Greg, being as we are going to be neighbors and in the same, I don't know what you call it, server, but maybe there's a cuter name, with Chicken Ka.
We're going to
Could
call it
you
a
please
region.
take-
We're going to call it a region.
Okay, in the same region. Could you please take a moment to educate the townspeople of Krownlandia how to properly say the name of that region?
Okay, so we probably have this wrong, and we were being smart alecky when we did it. Corey, in his infinite creativity, he named this chunk of the map West City. So that for a while it was just called West City, the West City block, the West City area. And so when we sat down, when he told us that we the sort of the founders were going to have a chance to be the crash test dummies for operating a region, we have to rename it. So we went looking to, we had already in mind to build the Pyramid of Palenque, right? And sort of Maya or Mesoamerican theme what we were doing. And we weren't trying to be particularly respectful or disrespectful, because really at that point we didn't think a lot of people were going to be coming to the thing. So I went and looked up, and I did it with Google Translate. So mea culpa, I understand that's probably the worst place to have started, but how do you say West City in Yucatec, which is one of the languages that the Maya people used and still use? And I want to remind people Maya culture still exists. And Chicken, CHIK apostrophe IN, new word Ka, West City in Yucatec, as Google Translate told us, is Chicken Ka. And somehow that became Chicken Ka. So that's what we all do now. And if I say it, Donna will yell it from the other room. The neighbors love her. It's awesome. So, and if there are real Maya people out there who are laughing hysterically or deeply offended, please Telegram message Lisa and let her know that it's a problem, and we'll work from there.
Yeah, I have a lot of other people's telegrams.
All right, guys, thanks
Well,
for having us along today. I really appreciate getting to talk about this a bit.
Yeah, thank you so much, Greg. We can't thank you enough for realizing our vision, and we look forward to being good neighbors as we help each other.
We promise
throughout the
not to
whole
launch zombies over the fence.
I greatly appreciate
we won't be doing that.
it.
All right,
All right,
guys, thanks
you
very
all.
much. Bye now.